Hello and welcome to In Their Own League. I'm Joan Amon, editor-in-chief, and today we are joined by Taylor Hunsberger and Calum Cooper. And like and subscribe because we've got so much to talk about with Wicked for Good. Thank you both for being with me. Where do we even begin? Let's talk about what we liked most first. Taylor, what was your favorite moments? What was your few favorite moments? I don't know if you could pick one from this film.
Um, I did like No Good Deed. Um, that scene was good. I liked the things that Cynthia did to change the song up. I did really like the scene where her and Glenda finally split, and I saw that was improvised. Where they have like the door between them and say I love you, which does not happen in the stage show, or at least like I don't know the stage show super well, but the people I was seeing it with did and said that doesn't happen in the stage show. And you know, there is like a very heavy queer undertext, and that highlights it, I think. So I liked that part. Yeah.
Calum, what'd you like?
So yeah, No Good Deed is great. That improvised moment is great as well. But I had a soft spot for the sequence of the girl in the bubble because I'm sure we'll talk about it in a sec. But where I liked Ariana Grande well enough in part one, I thought she was absolutely terrific in this part, and I thought this kind of encapsulated the best of her acting ability, I thought.
I would agree. Ariana really surprised me in this film. She shone so bright and she showed her range, and it was amazing. And I went in thinking, Cynthia Erivo, big fan. But Ariana, wow. I mean, she just that scene was remarkable. And I love the scene where she's sitting among the propaganda. And
Yeah.
it kind of sinks in like, oh, I'm I'm part of the propaganda. I've always been part of this propaganda. I loved that. That was just so well done. I thought, No Good Deed, absolutely. I knew I was going to love it. I was kind of hoping the speakers in my cinema would spark because she's just so amazing. And it was just a stunning performance. But I found that the CGI almost detracted from it. I would have just liked,
Yeah.
let the lady sing. Let her stand and sing because she's remarkable. So love that part. Honestly, the part you were talking about, Taylor, with the door. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Stunning, really incredible. Loved it that it was improvised, that the two of them decided they were going to do that together as a parting of the ways. Honestly, I think that this film is not as strong as the first one, in my opinion, and it could have been trimmed down by maybe a half hour, 20 minutes because it was a tad long. But there are certain scenes that I just don't, I think were just amazing. That if you were just to maybe pace it a little better, uh, linking those scenes, those key scenes together, it would have been much stronger. But the scenes that we did get were just mostly with the two of them, mostly with the two ladies, were just remarkable. So yeah, I mean, definitely saw it with an early crowd who knew the play obviously very well and kind of they knew when to gasp and they knew when to sob, and it was just really fun to see it with people who were familiar with the play. So that was fun. Seeing it with a group of people was really just part of the fun, I think. So well, let's touch on the song since you brought that up. Girl in the Bubble, Caleb. Do the new songs hold up, do you think, with the whole canon of what we know to be the Wicked soundtrack, the score?
I might be the wrong person to ask on this one because I've not actually seen the Wicked stage show, and my partner's very big into theatre, so she's going to get that changed in the near future probably. But I felt all the songs seemed to be quite consistent with one another. They seemed to fit into sort of the melody and the themes of part one pretty well. So maybe that's a testament to how well they fit in. I'm probably the wrong person to ask, but I thought the songs were pretty consistent overall.
What'd you think, since you were a little more familiar with the stage performances?
I did not like them. Um, or like my friends and I were talking, so I like have seen the show a few times, well, like twice, but the first time I was like 13 and I saw it a few years ago with my friend, but I don't remember it super well. I like I went to school for theater, but Wicked was never a show that I ever knew very well. So I like, and I also know the first act a lot better than the second one. So I like didn't totally know which parts were new and which ones, like I knew the that no good deed and for good were in there, but the other ones I didn't know for sure. But when my friends and I were talking, they kind of made the point that the new songs have kind of felt like they were in the wrong place and interrupted the momentum. Like I did like the girl in the bubble, but it felt like it maybe should have come at a different time. Um, the other one, No Place Like Home, though, did not like that. But also that's like not like Dr. Dillamon's really the only animal that's actually in the stage show. Um, it's hard, I think, for them to get around it because it's a movie, but it just felt, I mean, I think it was really ruined by the CGI animals, to be honest, which is why the sequence doesn't totally work for me. And also, it just felt like overly sentimental. Um, where like the show already has its mental moments and I wanted more, like I think what makes the act two of Wicked interesting is that it's a lot darker and it's a lot more political, and I think the movie kind of lost that by adding, I think Glinda's makes sense because she has like a big character arc in the second act, but No Place Like Home just like did not work. Also, I think I like when Wicked is like subtle in its acknowledgement of the Wizard of Oz, whereas like No Place Like Home is directly from the original text. And I was just like, I think by that point Dorothy wasn't even in the story yet, so it felt very forced to me.
I think that's very legitimate analysis there. Seriously, I liked Girl in the Bubble much better than No Place Like Home. I think it worked, like you said, both said, much better in context of the film. We'll get to the CGI in a minute because I had issues with that as well. But as far as the new songs, I think that Glinda's development in this film was really, really, I give props to Ariana Grande. She really her entire character arc and development and her self-awareness and her progress emotionally and realizing what she was and what she has become, it was really remarkable, I think, and how she conveyed that. I think Girl in the Bubble works for that reason because it helps. We see the inner workings of her heart and her mind and how she's been progressing. No Place Like Home, I just did not care for at all either. Like you said, I believe it just didn't work. It just didn't gel. I don't know why. And no shade on Cynthia Erivo. I just don't think that it kind of clicked in context of the film. Like you say, there's so many truly strong moments in this film already that it really didn't need to have that call back to the 1939 version. But when we were discussing the first film, I had concerns that these new songs were being written, and I was a little concerned because honestly, it seemed like they were more to justify being entered into the Oscar race for original score because, of course, the Broadway score had already been done, and that's why it didn't get nominated the first time. So I was a little concerned about that. I was also concerned that people wouldn't be realizing how really dark this second half goes. This is not your 1939 Wizard of Oz. And I was concerned about that when we discussed the first film because, the first film was kind of uplifting in that Elphaba realizes her power and ends on that high note of defying gravity. And, but it takes a dark turn in that second half. And maybe it's also an analysis, a critique of the stage play as well. This is not a happy show. It's not. The original wasn't a happy book. So I think that, we have to realize we're not seeing something like The Sound of Music here. We're not seeing something like Oklahoma here. We're seeing a dark show. Stephen Schwartz writes some dark stuff. I mean, have you seen Prince of Egypt? It has some dark moments and scary moments, even as an animated film for children. It's scary. So I think that you have to realize who's writing the show too. It's not someone who's going to. I mean, he's not Sondheim, but he's not exactly uh, Rodgers and Hammerstein either. So we have a dark show on our hands. And if you're not a theater kid, if you're not aware of theater. Maybe you went into this thinking, oh, we're all just gonna go and watch down the yellow brick road and happily ever after. And so yeah, I was a little concerned about how that was be reacted to, and people taking their kids. And I think we're going to touch on two scenes in particular. If you've got a kid with you and he doesn't know or she doesn't know what's going to happen to some of the two of the key roles in this movie, I'm a little concerned they may be a little traumatized because it's like, oops, ow, what happened here? So, and I'm not sure those scenes actually worked, to be honest with you, and we'll discuss that in a minute. Uh, there's a scene, and spoilers, I don't know why you would be watching this if you haven't seen the film yet, but if you haven't seen the film yet, spoilers alert. Let's talk about Bach and Fierro, because obviously Ariana and Cynthia were tremendous. They were fantastic. Their chemistry is off the charts, to the point, almost like you say, there's almost like an LGBTQ reference here, and I think it's fantastic. And just like, yes, I'm so glad that was called out because it's like fantastic. But the two male roles, Bach and Fierro, their transformation, did that work for you, those scenes? Because I kind of had little quibbling points on each one. What do you think, Calum? Did they work for you, the transformation scenes?
I'd say the Fiera one does in the context of that. From what I remember, the first film, he kind of was this stuck-up elitist type, and then in this film, you kind of see him actually truly wanting to fight for something he genuinely cares about and paying the price for that. So in the context of that, I think Fiero's transformation does work. Bach, maybe not as much because the kind of general outline is that he wants his heart wants something else than what he has, and so like maybe it didn't quite work as well on that front. And it was a shame because I kind of like the idea of a dark Tin Man, in that without a heart, he's kind of more he kind of doesn't really have any humanity, and he's more kind of bloodlusting, I suppose. But then, if you've read my piece on, say, something like Ruby and that, I think General Ironwood is still the best example of a Dark Tin Man out there. And this one, I don't think was on screen quite enough for it to work, but I liked the theory behind it, if not necessarily the execution, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. What do you think, Taylor?
I mean, it's the transformation of those two is one of my favorite parts of the stage show. But and like I remember that was gonna happen, but I don't remember how it happens in the stage show, but based on the reviews I read, I believe it happens mostly off stage. So it's like a little more, it's not like it's less believable in the movie. I don't know. Like, yeah, I feel like they're like a little stranger in the movie. Like I think it's clever that those characters turn into those characters, but yeah, I don't know if I know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I thought it was a little strange, to be honest with you. Like you said, Caleb, I would have liked to have seen maybe just a few more beats of Bach developing more
Mhm.
into Doc Tin Man, because he was truly terrifying there in the march. With the townspeople, he was really scary. The way he looked at Glinda, oh man. With the yeah, he like look if looks could kill or like desperation. I don't even know what that was, but as far he's the most terrifying character that in the film. I mean, he's almost as scary as Marvel, which we'll get to. But I was like, whoa, that was a great concept, but I think it could have been developed further, and was a missed opportunity because wow, that really he carried that. He carried that. It was great. Uh, Obviously, Jonathan Bailey, bless his heart, he really just showed so much uh passion and was just so great in this. And I really am I loved what he did with his character. He really showed the evolution of his character from being just this, you know, happy-go-lucky, no responsibility, forever like Peter Pan little boy kind of character, totally privileged, to someone who was willing to fight for a cause, even die for it, or for the woman he loved. And it was just like, wow, I can actually believe him doing that. And you're right, Caleb. I mean, he was willing to pay a price. And that look, that smoldering look, oh my goodness, flame, Holy moly, when he was carted away. Thought the screen was gonna catch fire. Wow. Just amazing. And my only quibble was I did not like the makeup when they showed his face. Did not like, I thought that it could have been done so much more subtly and more effectively. And that was just a minor quibble that, you can't cover up Jonathan Bailey's face, people.
Yeah, I also think it works better when it's done off stage because you don't see that. And then when I went online after and saw that it was practical, it didn't look practical in the movie. And so I think my whole theater laughed when they showed his face. And yeah, I think box transformation at least happens mostly behind the door. So then when he comes out, I think it was pretty clear that that was practically done. Like I could really tell. And the transformation, like of Fiero, like it still makes sense that it happens, I guess, but I think actually showing it does a disservice and makes it look cornier than it is.
And no
Yeah.
pun on corny either.
Yeah. I did
But
not mean that.
but it works, but it works. In all seriousness, talking about the transformation, the one thing I did like about box transformation is they actually had him carrying silverware. I mean, a tea set, and you could see it kind of fusing to his body. I kind of like that. It's kind of clever, actually. I thought that was kind of cute. That you had like, things flying from. I think there was actually a piece of the fireplace on where his heart was.
Yeah.
Kind of clever. I kind of like that. So it's physical effects, CGI merging together. That was kind of was great. I kind of liked that a lot. Fiero's transformation, not so much. So honestly, the scenes where he was like supposedly beaten and left hanging, oh, that was kind of traumatizing to me. I was like, oh, maybe we didn't need to see that. Maybe that would have been better off screen. But yeah, I think that was. I think we have a missed opportunity with Bach's transformation in some ways, and a missed opportunity with Fiero in some ways. But both gentlemen did a great job in their own roles. Bach being terrifying, even if it was a missed opportunity, and Fiero transforming into this hero, really, when he was an anti-hero in the first film. He was kind of like, we didn't know where this was going to go. He was going to go run off with Glinda and live happily ever after and be part of the elite of Oz and not really care about, the cause that Elphaba was engaged in. And he had every right to do so. He's a prince, right? His family had two palaces, I think they said. That was a throwaway line. Like, where do you live? Oh, the palace, of course. So, yeah, so, he was a wealthy elitist, and yet he joins the cause and becomes this rebel, really, which I think, again, this film was long, but it could have been developed in a lot of different ways. It could have been taken a couple of different tracks, I think may have been developed a little differently. But they're not the two leading characters, are they? We have Elphaba and Glinda as the two leading characters. And so do we think that this film actually does justice to the stage play? And now, Calum, you're not familiar with the theater version, but does this stand up? Okay, rephrase this. Does this stand up with the first one? Is it a satisfying part two to the first part of Wicked, do you think?
I would say yeah, but it takes a while to get to that point, I would say, in that there's a lot where the first one is very much a crescendo to define gravity. This one I described in my review as a bit more like lining up dominoes to watch it fall, you know? So
Mhm.
when it's kind of assembling the different parts, I'm like, okay, this is interesting, but where's this actually going? And it felt a little bit like it was rushing, but I feel like once it kind of got to the climax and when it resolved, I thought it was pretty satisfying. And maybe that's just from the front of Glinda's character arc, because the way I kind of saw it, if part one was Cynthia Erivo's and Elphaba's story, then part two is very much Ariana Grande's and Glinda's. So I think I described the first, if part one is a disillusionment story, then part two is a story of personal redemption. And on that front, I think that's where it's probably most satisfactory as a part two.
What do you think, Taylor? Did you find it satisfying? You were like, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
fair
I
enough.
really didn't. Um, I mean, I had to talk to my friends a lot, I think, to realize what I didn't like about it because, and my one friend said that her friend who knows the show really well kind of made the point that Yes, like in the stage show, the first act is very much about Elphaba and the second one is very much about Glinda. But it takes more time for Glinda to have a change of heart in the musical than it does in the movie. And I think that was very unsatisfying. Like, it seems like right away she started to feel bad. And I think what makes Glinda such an interesting character, and I think the whole point of Wicked in general is that this person can become so complicit because of, like, despite her love of Elphaba, she is so attached to the attention and wanting to go along with truly like this fascist government that she like it takes like a real breaking point for her to turn around. And I really don't think that this like it doesn't really happen in the movie because she starts to feel bad immediately, and even though you know there's a time jump, it didn't like feel like it as much to me even though we had to wait a year. There's like definitely signify, like, I can't point them out exactly. It's been a while since I've seen the show, but you know for a fact, and it's only been 15 minutes, but you know that a lot of time has passed. I think too, like, there's more, I think the show is a little more convincing in the Glinda Fiero relationship, where the movie, it made me feel like this is a ruse the whole time. So I felt that was unsatisfying. I also really did not like the scene between Fiero and Elphaba because the movie version, because it was so like aged down to be family appropriate, and it's not like super inappropriate in the stage show, but it's like they've got a lot of chemistry, and the scene takes place, they're like holding each other on the forest floor, and in this scene they kind of like kept cutting away between the two, and it felt like the connection was like rushed and then all of a sudden it was over, whereas in the stage show it feels like it really built up, even though there's not a ton of time we have with Fiero and Elphaba in the second act. It still feels like that is like as long as your mind is like a big section in the musical, and in this part it felt like they were trying too hard to make it family friendly, that they even took like the small amount of like even sexual chemistry that they had. They don't show anything, like it doesn't happen on stage or anything, but they definitely like are holding each other, and like it's got a lot more passion in it. And when you have the two actors on like the other side of the room from each other, it really just, I was like, okay, like, yeah. So I think that there was just like an overall loss of tension. And the parts that I really like about the second act of Wicked, in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, mental note, when Jonathan Bailey goes to reach for his suspenders to take them off, you linger and give him time to follow through on taking off those
Yeah,
suspenders.
and then I saw an interview where they said that sequence was a lot longer originally, and then they cut it. And I don't understand because, like, I mean, I think the real romance in the movie obviously is between Elphaba and Glinda, but if you're gonna make it convincing, also if you're gonna cast Jonathan Bailey, I think you really need to, like, the huge appeal of Fiero as a character is that he really loves Elphaba, and you get that for like 2 minutes in the movie, and it's really dissatisfying. I think they're like, despite Elphaba and Glinda, like I think their connection like is really interesting because I think you can also tell like towards the end of the first part and the first part of the show that he does decide to run away with her. So you know that he loves her. And um I just think he was kind of wasted. He should have just had more time.
We always need more time for Jonathan Bailey, seriously. My goodness. I mean, I don't care what the man's doing. Just give him more time. But yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that there's a lot of missed opportunities in this film for a lot of the cast, actually. I mean, Jeff Goldblum got to sing, and I would have liked to hear him sing more because that was fun. I mean, he could have had a more of a little razzle dazzle going on with "It's Wonderful" because he's great. He had a great opportunity to do a little bit more. I don't know, Broadway-esque kind of soft shoe kind of razzle dazzle thing with "Wonderful" would have been fun. Uh, Michelle Yeoh, I'm not sure seeing this second film if she was not miscast as Marble or maybe just wasted in that role. What do you think, Calum? I mean, I love her; she's fantastic, but I don't know if she really works as Miss Marble.
Yeah, I mean, just as a quick tangent on the note of like run times and stuff, a note I made in my own review was that in a twist of irony, I think parts one and two could have done with swapping run times, if anything, but that's a side note. So on Michelle Yeoh, like no shade to her, she's a wonderful actor. I don't think anyone could take that away from her, but I do sort of wonder if you're right on that front to an extent, because I get why she was cast. She has that kind of menacing gravitas that you see in like Crazy Rich Asians that really works for a role like this. But I don't know if it's the writing around the character or the way it was directed. It felt a little bit too pantomime at times for my liking.
Yeah, yeah. Do you agree, Taylor?
Yeah, and also I know a lot of people said like are saying like she can't sing, but I also like I know I want singers in musicals, but I actually don't think that's like the biggest downfall of her being cast. Like I think she I just think it also baffles me that I didn't like her because she's so great and like everything else, but I just think this part didn't work for her, and I don't even necessarily
Love
care.
you, Michelle. Yeah, yeah. It's this is
Like
not
they,
shade on Michelle. We love you, but yeah, yeah. I just don't think that this was the right role for her. I don't. And much as I love Goldblum and I thought he was great, like I said, I think he was misused and just not used enough or sufficiently. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great things to love about this film, but there's a lot of detractions too. And it's kind of I can understand why there's so much discussion going on the internet right now with mixed feelings about it. And I believe that our reviewer, Rosa, only gave it 3.5 stars out of 5 for all those misgivings. There's a lot of solid, beautiful performances that will bring you to tears, especially that ending with the door. Oh my goodness. But at the same time, there's a lot of, I'm going to grind my teeth in fury because, for one thing, the CGI animals, no, did not work for me. Yeah, no. So the CGI in a lot of areas did not work for me at all. And it just drove me crazy. After a while, it became so distracting. I was just ready to scream. So that was really a detraction for me. But, contrast that with Frankenstein, which is so much practical effects. And I almost wish that so I think that someone actually had said this. I wish that we could actually walk around Oz. Did you have the feeling like, oh, I just want to like actually walk there and experience it and not have it CGI? It would have been great if it just was real. And I know a lot of the stage was built for real, but to me it wasn't enough. It wasn't satisfying enough that I actually felt like I was there.
no, and I also think what the stage show does so well, I mean, there aren't many animals in it, but I also think there was an opportunity to, like, they didn't necessarily have to have, like, all people in costumes, but Dr. Dillamon is a person in a costume, and I think if they could, like, set that as the standard, then it wouldn't, like, feel out of place, or if they, I just wish they would have done puppets or something for like realistic looking puppets, but there's no way they could have not had animals in it because it's a full world. It's not a stage play. But it is also Oz. Like they could have been like weird, fun puppets and it would have made sense.
Oz gets weird. The books are
Yeah.
weird. It gets
Yeah.
weird. Caleb, do
Even
you think that we have a chance of having a nominations? What do you think are the chances of being nominated for some key awards here?
well, I should go out on a limb and say I don't think its odds of as good as part one was, because I think a lot of people were blown away by how good that is. But even as someone who's not seen the stage show, I'm well aware that part two is kind of seen as the messier half of the two parts. So it had a bit of an uphill climb from there to begin with. I mean, I'll place my bet now and say I think Ariana Grande is getting in for Best Supporting Actress, and
You broke up, Caleb.
Cynthia Erivo,
Hey,
Cynthia Erivo probably, but I'm not 100% sure on that one because there's even this year alone, you've got like Jessie Buckley in Hamnet, you've got
yeah.
Amanda Seyfried in Testament of Anne Lee. There's quite a bit of competition in that category. Costumes probably, production design probably, maybe a lot of the below the line stuff could get nominated for, but I don't think it'll be met with the same vigor as part one was. And understandably, like even myself as someone who quite liked this film, I still think part one is better by a fair distance. So I think if it's going to get any nominations in the above the line category, probably Ariana Grande, but we'll see about the rest of them.
You agree, Taylor?
Yeah, I actually thought the standout performance is Ethan Slater, but I don't foresee like getting a nomination. Like the part's just not big enough. Because I was really impressed by him. But yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think is like maybe they would still just nominate it anyways, only because it is like dominating the culture in a way. I don't know.
Be interesting because I think this is what maybe one of the few times where an actress, maybe the only time an actress has been nominated for 2 years in a row for the same role. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And we have some interesting races shaping up this year. We've got, so if Ariana is nominated, it'll be for the same role 2 years consecutively. We've got Mia Goth playing two different characters in one film, and she could be nominated for a supporting actress as well. And that'd be
Love that.
really interesting.
Yeah,
That'd
I
be
would.
amazing. So yeah, we've got some interesting races shaping up here that Wicked really could be pivoted to be, pitted against some really stiff competition. As far as the technicals, I think they will all be nominated. The art direction, the costumes, the makeup, all all nominated. It's going to be hard to compete with, I think, the physical effects of the actual physical effects of Frankenstein because of their CGI issues in Wicked, but they will be nominated almost definitely. I think the score will get nominated. I think the original songs will probably get nominated, at least one of them. But we have Sinners with the original song from Sinners.
And
So it's going to be a very interesting race this year.
yeah, and also original song as well. You can't ignore the stuff from K-pop Demon Hunters as well,
Oh yeah.
particularly.
There you go. Oh yeah. Please, thank you for reminding me. How can I forget? My goodness. I really want a tiger. Anyway, derby tiger. Anyway, yeah. Don't get me started. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we got some interesting race that we could just kind of it cranks up the competition, doesn't it? It really makes it fierce. Even though as a film, maybe it's only a 3.5 out of a five. Maybe it's not as strong as the first one. It does throw some severe competition into the act here of what the race here of what we're going to be looking at for nominations. And I really think that's interesting because it's kind of like, okay, well, does the Academy take it as a whole, the two films together, and rejudge it as one work? Or does it stand alone on its own and the Academy judges it purely as, Wicked for good? And it's going to be interesting to see how the votes go because it's like, this is actually a continuation film. This isn't even a sequel. This is a film that really should be like spliced together with the first one. So it's going to be interesting how that's seen as far as votes. And that's going to be interesting when we have our discussion of end of year best of who we like, how people think about that and say, do they see it as one film or do they see it as, standalone? So, what do you think, Tam? Standalone or a continuation?
I'd probably say a continuation because if we're talking, individual films, I think part one still works as its own story better than part two. So I think seeing it as a continuation probably is the more sensible approach. You could maybe make a case for it being its own story in terms of redemption, but I don't think the case is as strong as for part one.
What do you think, Taylor? Should we judge it as a standalone because of that redemption arc, which is very strong, or is it a continuation?
No, I agree with Calum. Yeah, I mean, the second part doesn't even work unless you know what happens at the beginning. Yeah.
It's going to be fascinating. I'm just so excited just to see how the nominations go on this because it's going to be like, whoa, the competition is going to be insane. Anyway, thank you so much, Calum. Thank you so much, Taylor. This was fun and we just scratched the surface. This will be continuing when we do our end of year best and we start getting deeper into the nominations once they come out. But thank you so much for chatting with us. And this was fun. This was great. And I agree with you. I think that the first one was stronger, but I mean, no good deed. Still the highlight, still special in my heart. Cynthia Aiello could sing that forever, and I'd be perfectly happy. She was fantastic. I really, really loved it. Thank you so much for being with me. It's been a joy, and we'll continue at the league. Stay tuned for more.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey.